Hey guys, this is Dooley. So in this video, we will continue talking about the console API in Node.js, and more specifically, today we will focus on the console.trace function, which simply allows us to print stack trace to standard error. And if you don't know what a stack trace is, it's essentially the same thing that is called when an error is thrown. The difference here will be that when an error is thrown, the program stops, but when you just call to print a stack trace, you will get the stack trace and the program will go on. So first thing, let's do our first thing here. Let's just throw an error and see what the stack trace will look like without anything else in the program. So let's just throw an error, and let's just give it some text here. Okay, this is my error. Let's just call this. See what we got. Okay, there's more text here. Okay, so throw a new error. This is my error, and so this is what our stack trace look like to get to that call here to throw an error. Okay, so you can see the program started in Node.js. The startup function got called at line 139.18. Then you got a run main, a load, and until you get to your program here, which is represented by some anonymous function. And you can see at line 3, column 7, an error was thrown. Okay, line 3, and I'm guessing column 7 is right here or right here somewhere. I'm not going to count it. Okay, so this is what your stack trace would look like. So this function will essentially do something similar, but it will just give you the message without stopping your program. So let's just go ahead and call that in the simplest way. Okay. Okay, now we can just keep doing stuff. Let's just log some message after trace. Okay. All right. So you can see here you get the trace. Okay. The only difference is here you got a trace, but here you got an error. Okay. All right. So you can actually give your trace a name. My stack trace. That should be stack. Okay. We run this. Okay. All right. So this is my stack trace right here. This is the message we get from calling that. That's the message we gave it. Okay, and you still get your stack trace, but the program goes on, and after that call, we get that. So it doesn't stop the program like an error would, but you get essentially the same information. All right, so what another thing we should note is that this is printed to standard error. Although we get it in the console here, if we wanted to save it to a file, we would have to pick it up from the standard error stream, not the regular standard output stream. Okay, so to see a little bit clearer what the stack trace is, let's go ahead and create a few functions here and call them in succession and see how that will change our stack trace. Okay, let's just create a function here. Function, let's call this fun1, and from within it, let's call function fun2. Okay, and let's go ahead and create that at the bottom. Well, we can just copy this one and just change it. I need a couple more, so let's call this fun2, which we'll call fun3, and then we got fun3, which we'll call, actually not call, let's just print a trace here. Okay, let's call that fun3. bring this down a bit to give us some space. Let's see what everything looks like. So what I've got here is three functions. Okay, one that calls function 2 here, and function 2 itself calls function 3, and function 3 prints a stack trace. Okay, so from here, let's call function 3. Let's see what we get. Alright, let me clear this up a little bit. Okay, let's make the call. Okay, let's look at our stack trace here. Okay, so this is it. Okay, so what's added to our stack trace? So this is what we were getting before. Okay, up to our program, an anonymous function that represents our program, and then from that line 18, you can see here we called some function, and that function that was called was function 3. Again, from within function 3 at line 15, 13, a trace was printed. Okay, so that must be column 13 here. So at line 15, the trace was printed. So that's what this is telling us right here. All right, now we know that function 2 is calling it. Okay, so if we did this with function 2, function 2 would simply be added to the top of the stack. Okay, well, actually function 3 is added at the top because function 2 is called before function 3. Okay, so and the same would happen if we had called from function 1. Okay, so you get from 1 you get function 2, from 2 you get function 3, and so on. All right, so this essentially is a debugging tool. Okay, if you want to make sure some function gets called within your stack trace, some function gets called after another, this is a great tool for you to essentially examine and find out if also you're coming into a project and a lot of the code has already been written, you may want to use this tool to see what calls what and so on. Alright, so this is the video, guys. We focused on console.trace. We see that it prints a stack trace for us, which is essentially a report of all the functions that were called to get to where you called that function, and it gives you a list of functions, right, and where they were called from, which file, and what line in that file they were called from. So you can go there and just figure out what it's doing and so on. Alright, and it prints it to standard error. So if you want to redirect that to a file, make sure you pick up the data from standard error and not from standard output. And this is how it works. Alright, go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more of these videos. Please hit the like button if you like them. And if you've got questions, go ahead and ask me in the comment section. If anything's not clear enough, you can ask me. I'll respond. And I guess I'll see you in the next video. All right, bye.